Hello there. Now it's confirmed that the local elections will take place in May. The question is, will a large SNP win force an IndyRef2? Firstly, please subscribe and like this video to give my channel a boost. And I'm always uploading new content, so please do check back daily. And a big thanks to my Patreon and PayPal supporters. It's been confirmed that the local elections will be held on May the 6th. There had been some discussion around delaying them until as late as October this year, with The Guardian reporting, local and mayoral elections in England are to go ahead in May as planned, the government has confirmed, with councils allocated extra money to help make voting and the counting process safe amid coronavirus. Although one point did make me raise an eyebrow. Polling stations will be fitted with screens and hand sanitizer, while voters who have to isolate or shield can nominate a proxy as late as 5 p.m. on polling day the 6th of May. This will worry those of us who are concerned about the potential for voter fraud. Now, as stated, this applies to England only, but one assumes that Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland will probably follow suit, but I've heard nothing concrete to confirm that as of yet. Anyway, it's common knowledge that the Scottish National Party, the SNP, wants to use these elections as a springboard to a second Scottish independence referendum, an IndyRef2. Now, if they all go ahead, these elections cover much of the UK with local council elections, mayoral elections, outstanding by-elections, police and crime commissioner elections, and devolved authority elections. And of these, the main battleground and focus will be the elections for members of the Scottish Parliament, the Holyrood MSPs. And with the projection that the SNP will take the vast majority of the seats on offer, the Scots Nationalists will claim they have a mandate for a second independence referendum, despite having lost by 45% to 55% 7 years ago in the once-in-a-generation 2014 referendum. They will reinforce this claim by pointing to Brexit that the Scots voted so heavily against. After all, the claim made by the No to Independence campaign was that voting against was the only guaranteed way of staying in the European Union that the Scots so laud. And when looking back at the 2019 general election, the SNP won 81.4% of the parliamentary seats, so they will be looking to replicate that in the Holyrood elections, or as near to it as they can get. Of course, the one difference is that in the general election, voting was conducted using the first-past-the-post system. In contrast, the MSP elections have an element of proportional representation built into them. But we should remember that referenda, or is it referendums, are based on counting up the votes made against one choice or other out of a binary choice question, yes or no, leave or remain. And when looking back at the 2019 general election again, the SNP gained 45% of what you could call the popular vote. And all but maybe 1% of the remaining 55% voted for pro-union parties, the Tories, Labour, Lib Dems, the Brexit Party, now Reform UK, and UKIP. So what we're looking at is maybe a popular vote of 54% pro-union and 46% pro-independence. And this was an election, not an opinion poll of maybe 1,000 people. If this were replicated in May, then surely there would be no case for an IndyRef2. Now, many people point to the popularity of the SNP leader and First Minister of Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon. She is seen, and I do mean seen, as having handled the pandemic well, which might attract more votes for the SNP. The question being, are they independence votes or pandemic handling votes? But in a popular vote setting, that doesn't matter. If she can pull those 4% or more people over to the SNP, then the Scots Nats can claim a double mandate, most seats and most votes, something that Boris might find hard to argue against. But the pandemic has also given Sturgeon and the SNP one huge advantage over all the other Scottish MSP candidates. And that is the First Minister, and very occasionally one of her SNP ministers, gets to stand in front of the nation at midday practically every day to present the daily COVID-19 briefing, and more importantly, themselves, to their electorate. And during a pandemic where their opponents can't knock on doors, hire halls for meetings or hold meetings, or even get together other than over Zoom, it looks to me like an insurmountable advantage for the SNP. And one of those prospective opponents will be George Galloway, who heads up the pro-UK Alliance for Unity, as well as being the nominating officer for the newly minted and authorised All for Unity political party. And as Galloway tweeted, "Dear Scots Government, I need to get out campaigning for the Holyrood elections. Please confirm A. The elections are going ahead in May. B. What restrictions apply on campaigning? Clearly, democracy is denied if you are on TV every day, whilst I can't stand on a soapbox." Now, this will be the same in all corners of the UK, where an incumbent person or party has a reason to be regularly on the mainstream media. Already, 2 London mayoral candidates have, I believe, been fined for being out and about campaigning during the pandemic. Not a good look for a democracy. Now, I know that the Electoral Commission and Ofcom etc. will be telling those with unfair access to the media not to overtly politic. But Sturgeon et al. Don't need to politic, they just need to be seen. And where their opponents can't even poke their noses outside their door and are forced to rely on social media, that being seen is a huge advantage. Unless you're the Labour Party First Minister of Wales, Mark Drakeford, maybe. And the problem is, I would guess, most acute in devolved and mayoral elections. So I would like to see the regulators concerned take a look at this, with a view to balancing up the airtime and column inches to take account of the loss of publicity suffered by any candidates due to the pandemic. Some levelling up, if you like. And this should take the form of extra primetime viewing minutes for those affected, as well as some extra newspaper column inches as well, maybe. I would also like them to consider, for this one election, either reducing the deposit, especially for the likes of the £5,000 for the PCC elections, or reducing the percentage required to reclaim that deposit, or a combination of the two. Now, one way around all of this would be to stop all the daily briefings, etc., but they do serve the purpose of communicating government policy and thinking to the people, so who would give them instead? Or waive all the pandemic rules for candidates, campaigners and supporters, and the scientists wouldn't back that. Or the elections could be postponed again, and that is something I would definitely not want to see. No, we must conduct our free and fair elections wherever and whenever we can. And the one word at risk here is the word fair. Only an election that is both free and fair can return a legitimate election result. And having no platform for your message would make the elections unfair and the outcome therefore potentially not legitimate. This is a situation that needs addressing right now. Anyway, if you want to hear more from me, please don't forget to subscribe and also press that little bell or you won't get any notifications. And if you want to see more of me, buy a mug with my mug on it by following the link in the descriptions box below and support me on Patreon or PayPal. So what do you think about all of this? Please share and comment, and thank you for watching.